So Bryan Callen thinks that we should be getting our news from Joe Rogan and Russell Brand.
Well, so
He
I
just
think
wants the truth.
you know where you go. Crazy
Break-
enough,
you-
people like Russell Brand, Joe Rogan, that
Breaking
kind of stuff.
points.
So Bryan thinks that Joe and Russell Brand are very much in the middle of the left and the right. So that's why you should trust them. Now, I don't know much about Russell Brand, but I do know about Joe Rogan. And Joe, let's be honest, he's in Texas now. He kind of leans a little bit more on the right side. When he was living in Cali, he was in the left side. And for the most part, honestly, you shouldn't be getting your news from Joe Rogan. He is not very accurate.
I'm not a respected source of information, even for me. If I say things, I'm always going, check on that, Jamie. I don't know if that's true.
Right.
I do that all the time.
Right.
So you might be asking, what is the context of this? Where did Bryan get this take from? Bryan Callen has been dipping his toes in the old political pool. Some of you guys might know that he's been working with Steven Crowder.
About to go live here.
No, they should send you the
Okay.
So that way you'll need to hit a button and it like cross.
I know, but I'm trying to do promotion right now. Steven, let's go live. Let's make this the best show ever.
Is this
huh?
already live?
No, but I'm.
You have no idea what I could have been doing, and that camera's turned on.
Well, yeah, but
That's
the
why
way
you get in trouble, Brian.
But you move
That's
like
why you get in trouble.
you move like a jungle cat. About to go live here, guys. This is how we do it. Is there a way to make me less narrow and less gray? This sweater is really bringing out my age.
So Bryan was invited to Destiny's debate panel about the Twitter files. And even Bryan mentions that he was not prepared and he shouldn't have even been there.
Theatrical.
Well, that's
It was
what
about
makes
free
Alex so
speech. It was
good.
about. It was weird. It was a really. I was in over my head, bro. I got there. They invited me. It was about free speech. on the
Daddy didn't
internet.
do
Bro,
his
you've been
homework.
in over your head here.
Yeah.
Okay, so now we get to Alex Jones. Bryan agrees with Alex Jones' take on this. And here is that take.
Came to this, and I kind of learned something. And Alex Jones, I gotta say, the man said something that at the end of the day. So here's my question to you guys: is there any case to censor information, malinformation, disinformation?
Okay, so now here's a surprising turn of events. Brendan Schaub makes a really good point on why we should censor some things. And here is his take.
Malinformation, disinformation.
Yeah, Al Qaeda,
Uh,
domestic terrorism. They're trying to spread that, give information, recruit people.
So you
That
would
stuff
you would
yes,
censor that because we don't
100%.
censor it necessarily.
We should,
We
though.
do. Okay, we
If,
should.
if it can hurt
So-
Americans physically, we should censor.
What
it.
about racism?
Now, honestly, that was a surprisingly good take from Brendan. And then now Jay Larson steps in and says, what about racism? And here's Brendan with another surprisingly good take.
Should censor.
What
it.
about
So-
racism? I'm asking you.
But the problem, see, my thing is racism can lead to that stuff. But if you can shut down domestic terrorism or even international terrorism, that's going to hurt Americans. We shouldn't allow them to have a platform. When it comes to racism, that opens up a whole lot of doors. Because I think there's racism where it's clear as day, right? Using the N-word.
So let me ask you- let me rephrase the
anti-Semitic.
question.
Yeah, get that shit out of there. But at what point do you say, all right, well, we stop it here?
So
'Cause
let me
then it leaks over into other
rephrase, Bubba.
shit.
Let me
Yeah.
rephrase the question.
Surprisingly, Brendan steamrolls Bryan, and Bryan has to kind of switch it up and kind of refresh the question here.
Here.
So
'Cause
let
then
me
it leaks over into other
rephrase, Bubba.
shit.
Let me
Yeah.
rephrase the question. I'm talking about an ideology.
And what else?
Would you make it? Would you censor it? Would you not? Alex.
Give me an example,
Alex
though.
said. Destiny said there should be at least a body, a governing body at the companies and with the government that censors.
Oh, man.
Now,
that's-
Now, here's the take that Bryan liked from Alex Jones.
well, here's my question: if you have an election and somebody's very good at planning a story, and they are able to sway the vote at a key time in the election.
like Trump and Russia.
Yes,
collusion.
whatever it might
Yeah.
be. What do we do about that? And Alex Jones said, you let the people decide. And he said, you let everything fly, unless it's illegal. You let everything on the internet, because what happens is we will all learn
Figure it out.
to be careful,
What we
and we
believe
will
in.
get, and then it will spawn an industry of people we trust
Legit journalists.
to verify or not.
I kind of agree with
so
that.
that to me is where I came down.
But no one.
Now here's Jay Larson with some pushback, because honestly, this is a good take from Jay Larson, because look, there's a lot of dumb people out there. Do you want the dumb people to get caught up with lies, and then it's it's gonna affect some of the people out there that don't know what's real and what's fake. And honestly, for Alex Jones to say that, let everything fly, like, one of the main reasons he got sued is because of that Sandy Hook thing, calling the victims crisis actors. Like, there's certain things that you shouldn't say because your words, Alex's words, had consequences. Those families, the people that suffered, were doxxed. They were terrorized everywhere they went by people that thought that the shooting was fake. Like, Alex Jones to say that is bold.
You're giving way too much. You're assuming that there's people just smart enough to do that. What do you think?
This country was founded on that concept.
I'm not saying that this isn't right. I'm just saying, like, assuming there's so many dumb people out there that are just looking for a story that aren't going to investigate further. And who do you trust anymore for the news? I don't know.
Well,
But the cream would rise to the top,
now,
right? It'd rise to the top where you.
Okay, now we get to the part where Joe is mentioned, because, hey, where can we get news that isn't biased and isn't leaning somewhere left or right? Oh yes, Joe Rogan and Russell Brand.
This
Dumb people out there that are just looking for a story that aren't going to investigate further. And who do you trust anymore for the news? I don't know.
Well,
But the cream would rise to the top,
now,
right?
right.
It'd rise to the top where you'd say, we know for a fact if it comes from this, this company,
That's
that
what.
it's
But
facts.
that's what you. But what is? Yeah, maybe.
Someone's gonna have to rise
Alex
to the
Jones
top
is so
because
funny.
now there's none of. Where
No, I
where
know.
would you go now?
I'm-
Like CNN? Yeah, get the fuck out of there. Fox? No way.
Yeah.
We know they're both compromised.
Yeah, of course.
I don't know where you turn. But
Well,
you'd have to have someone come out and create a business
what
off
would
of it.
happen is Fox, for example, I'll give you an example, like with this whole Dominion thing.
So yeah, then he goes on about Fox and CNN being wrong at times, and Fox lying to their viewers about Donald Trump's fake voter shit. And
Dick.
But where can you go where you're gonna have someone in the middle?
Well, so
who
I
just
think,
wants the truth.
you know where you go? Crazy
Break-
enough.
you-
People like Russell Brand, Joe Rogan, that
Breaking
kind of stuff.
points. That's
All
probably
of
the
that.
best.
Yeah. And but that's what I'm saying is that if you allow the marketplace to work, you will find people, and because over
But
time you
think
get
about
fooled. But
Think
then
about who you just recommended.
Yeah.
It shouldn't be up to Russell Brand, who is a comedic actor. It
but
shouldn't
it
be up.
is now.
But it's not.
Right.
That's not what he wants to do either. It's not up
think it
to
is.
Joe Rogan to give you the news. Maybe Russell Brand.
But we do have
It's not. It's not up to Rogan.
I think mainstream.
honestly, like, I get my news from a lot of people, a lot of streamers that dedicate their time to politics, and I try to be open-minded and see those debates with the right-leaning guys, but it's oftentimes it's just butting heads and their ideologies and what should be allowed and what shouldn't be allowed and what is freedom of speech and blah blah blah. So look, there's always, it's politics is a very hard thing to discuss, and especially censorship. But it honestly, like, we should censor a couple of things like that are very much hurtful, and there are stupid people out there, and those stupid people do stupid things. They target people, they hurt people. The person that they follow becomes very cult like, and Joe Rogan being the the spotlight of what is in the middle is quite hilarious. I just feel like he kind of want to just say Joe Rogan and Russell Brand just to kind of get on that show, get on Joe's show or something. Honestly, just not. It's just something that you kind of wouldn't think about or even put in your mind that, oh yes, Joe is he's a very much a reliable news source and very unbiased. Of course not. He's not unbiased, and his show is not news. He's constantly wrong a lot of the time. Now, Let me know your thoughts on this, guys. I know you guys are not as political or whatever, but who do you see? What kind of person do you get your politics from or your news from? I would like to know. And give this a like and subscribe. It's kind of funny also to see. It's kind of funny to see Brendan having some good takes. Jay Larson also pushing back, and kind of giving Brendan a hard time there. Because at first he was like, yes, Alex has a good take. We shouldn't censor anything. And now he's like, well, some of the things we should. So it's just kind of funny, man. He made a flip. Brendan made a flip. Jay Larson did the assist. Surprisingly, you'll be surprised with this. Brendan having some good takes and some bad takes in there, a little bit. But yeah, that's all it, guys. I'll see you guys next time. And again, like and subscribe. And I'll see you guys next time.
I'm not a doctor. I'm a fucking moron. And I'm a cage fighting commentator who's a dirty stand-up comedian who just told you I'm drunk most of the time. And I do testosterone and I smoke a lot of weed.